Just saying, quite the coincidence that they're both having an open challenge and Logan Paul is going to be there.
I
And
didn't even put those two together. All right, so moving on to SmackDown, we get a SmackDown recap from last week. Now, notice how on SmackDown, not once did they recap Raw.
what was there to recap?
Well,
You think they were going to play a. Well, technically, they should be playing Seth Rollins segments, but.
right,
Because, he's just as important.
Seth Rollins he's defending his title on NXT. He's defending his title at a house show at some point. I don't know if he did already or it's coming up. He's defending his title against Balor. He's having an open challenge next week. I mean, the world heavyweight title is being defended left and right, but no fucking people about it on SmackDown. Yet on Raw, we're getting SmackDown recaps about Roman. And you're trying to tell me that the world heavyweight title is just as important.
Yeah. Seth defending the title on NXT in itself, that just tells you it's not an even playing field here.
Right. And you know what makes people forget about a new title?
What is that?
When you give everybody a new title. Everybody got a new title. Seth Rollins got his title. Asuka got her new title. Roman got his new title. There's been like 5 new titles after Seth Rollins. And they've all been the little unveiling thing too. So it's all been all the same stage and same setup.
Well, that being said, both SmackDown titles seem like they're being treated as a more bigger deal than the Raw titles. For one, they didn't even advertise Rhea Ripley. Like, even up until like the show aired, there was no, like, when you go on WWE.com, they usually run down the show at some point, or how I get it is on Twitter, they run down what's coming up on the show. Usually around like 4 or 5 o'clock before the show kicks off the air, they give you a rundown on what's happening. There was no mention of Rhea Ripley getting a new title at all.
I think it was just common sense at that point.
Well, I'm just saying, they did it completely unadvertised. Meanwhile, Asuka's getting this big what to do for her title reveal. So they're just not being treated equally.
Was hers advertised? Asuka's?
Yeah, it was advertised. The championship presentation or something like that.
Okay.
They called it.
I think they just wanted you to watch because Charlotte was going to be there. If Charlotte wasn't there, I don't think they would have given a shit.
Look what you get on the other side. Seth Rollins is defending the title every single second he can. And he's already watered that title down so much that it's beyond recognizable. Like, it's the Intercontinental title is more valuable than that title right now.
The title was watered down the moment that they pulled the little curtain thingy off of it.
Well, I'm saying they could have made it a big deal, but it's already so far down. But you got the people saying, oh, Roman never defends it. And, people like me say, well, yes, he doesn't ever defend it because that's what makes it special. My point is, Seth Rollins gives you what you want from a champion to defend it every second of the day he can. And
it's like the hardcore title.
Yeah, or the 24/7 title, except that he wins and it doesn't end in a roll-up. But yeah, so you're getting it there, and that should show everybody why you shouldn't be defending the title every week, because now the title is like a joke. Like, it doesn't feel special because it's the second most important title in the company. This title should be closing the show at Money in the Bank, but it's not going to. Roman Reigns is still going to be closing the show. So what are you doing here? And you know why Roman Reigns is closing the show?
Because he's the champion.
No, because they care about viewership.
Well, that too.
They care about viewership. They care about ratings.
If you're on the website, he's listed as undisputed universal champion. He's the champion.
Yeah, when you're the reigning and defending undisputed, you can't be. Yeah, no one can tell you otherwise.
No matter how many fake belts you create and try to tell us that they're prestigious, especially when you're going to give everybody else a new belt immediately after.
Well, that's more so just getting the titles rebranded.
And that's fine.
What did I say? Reskinned?
Yeah, that's fine. But you're trying to make this one title a big deal, but you've already diluted it because you've had unveiling for 3 weeks in a row now.
Oh, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. That doesn't really take away from me because they were the women's titles.
Well, Roman.
My thing is it being defended. Like
Seth.
Every time we turn around, it's being defended. That's my thing.
I get that. I'm with you there, but Seth got his belt. We're gonna build this belt up. It's gonna be just as important as Roman's. Then what happens? Next week, Roman gets a new gold belt, so that's the talk of the town. Nobody's talking about Seth's belt anymore. It's Roman's belt. Then what happens? Asuka gets a new belt. Maybe not as many people are talking about Asuka's belt, but they're talking about it. They're certainly not talking about Seth's new belt.
Yeah, they're talking about Charlotte on that one.
Yeah. Then what happens? Ripley gets a new belt. Looks like Seth's belt.
Yeah, so her belt's at the bottom of the totem pole, apparently. It's a reskin.
So you've had all these championships being unveiled, but right off the bat, you told us this one was supposed to be important, but you've diluted it with all this other shit. You should have waited. Should have
Well, how
waited.
long were they going to wait?
As long as it takes. It's not like they have an off season. Either say it's important or it's not.
Well,
And then having it defended at house shows, which I don't mind that. I don't mind it being defended. But when you have it defended in house shows and then this Raw and that Raw and NXT, that's a little bit overkill. I don't mind it getting defended on Raw every now and then. I'd say if it's defended once a month, that's good. It doesn't have to be every fucking day. You don't have to kip up out of bed and say, I'm going to defend this fucker.
yeah, open challenge coming up on Raw. Also, of note, Logan Paul is going to be on Raw. Why is he going to be there? And why, coincidentally, is there an open challenge? I'm not saying, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Skip the fuck out of that.
Just saying, quite the coincidence that they're both having an open challenge and Logan Paul is going to be there. And,
I didn't even put those two together.
just something to point out there. So we go from that. Then he's going to NXT to defend against Braun Breaker. We're just talking about televised things.
Yeah. So I mean,
And then he's going to go defend it against Finn Balor.
and
So that's
Lord
three-
knows how many times he's going to defend it in between that. You might
Yeah,
defend it
that's-
at the airport.
Yeah, so we got 3 title defenses in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
that's it. That's more than one a week.
it's a little overkill.
Yeah.